Now, Mike, I want to move into your SEC power rankings post spring. And, of course, we all know fans don't draw unreasonable conclusions from spring games, right? And of course, post spring rankings. But you dropped your rankings for that SEC podcast. And you guys do a great job, by the way. I always enjoy tuning in. But South Carolina fans are, I don't know if I'd say not accustomed to, but it's never fun to see your team near the bottom, right? And you guys had South Carolina ranked 13th in the SEC power rankings post spring 2021. Now, I want to give you some benefit of the doubt first, because I don't know if you think I'm going to come for your neck or something. I understand where you guys are coming from in the sense of there's questions along the roster. There's questions on the coaching staff and a coach that's never been a head coach. And you're talking about a program that has won a combined 6 games the past 2 years. Now, from the South Carolina side of things, you get in South Carolina circles, we think of, this is a much more talented roster than the last coaching staff made it out to be. And you start looking at the schedule and, no, call it for what it is, Mike. No South Carolina fan, even to this day, even after you lost 6 of 7 to them, nobody's going to sit here and say Kentucky's a better football program than South Carolina. Nobody wants to say Missouri's a better football program than South Carolina. Just talk me through your rankings. How much of it has to do with the roster? How much of it has to do with the coaching staff? And how much of it has to do with just what the program's done in the last few years? Or is it just a combination of all those things I just mentioned?
When I base these power rankings, I do it. I put very little value in the actual spring game, kind of like you said. Yeah. It's more of a combination of the information that I pick up during spring camp. And I've got to be one of the only few people that are sitting here watching all these damn press conferences for every one of these coaches. I mean, I know the fans do it for their team, but you've tried doing it for 14. I mean, it's like pulling damn teeth. But so it's a combination of all those factors and really more than anything about the roster on hand and the fact that South Carolina, I mean, they lost some really good talent, not only to the NFL, but to the transfer portal. And I think that was evident by, all the additions they made via the transfer portal. And we got to credit the coaching staff for doing that. But I think it's very easy as a fan base, and this is not unique to South Carolina by any means, but I think it's very easy, when you add these players via the transfer portal, you say, okay, we filled this hole. This guy's going to be a standout. That guy's going to be a standout. This guy's going to be a standout. It generally doesn't even work that way, to be honest with you. I mean,
they're not all going to be studs. They're not all going to be studs.
And almost none of them right out the gate. I mean, hell, even Joe Burrow, number 1 overall pick, I'm not saying he was a liability his first year, but he was nothing special.
Right.
I mean, they got shut out against Alabama. So it takes time. And you're factoring in, new coaching staff on both sides of the ball. I know they tried to keep Mike Bobo there for a minute. And so now you're factoring in implementing new offense, new defense, new players across, not all across the board, but quite a few. And the transfer additions, suggest that they weren't happy with the state of the roster. So all that combined, and I think for me, the key, I know you're a big Luke Doty homer, and I got nothing against the guy because which game was it? Was it Missouri? He came in, he looked like, I was like, my God, this might
Connor
be the
Shaw
next
2.0.
Yeah, I mean, he looks the part, but then what was the next game against Kentucky? He looked terrible. So, is that just his inexperience? Is it Kentucky had film on him? Everything I hear about Luke Doty, I think he's going to be a good player, but at the same time, I'm not ready to buy into him until we see him in this offense.